Hello, my name is Am, and welcome back to my channel. Alright, so it's Shingeki Day, time for episode 4. I'm almost there, man, almost halfway, and it feels good to be proper in there, right? The first two episodes, that was kind of like the beginning. Felt like I'm, after a long time, I'm finally getting back into it. Then by the third episode, I was really back into it. Now it feels like I'm proper in there. So yeah, before I get into the episode, if you're interested in full length for this episode or even early access to the next episode right now, consider checking out the Patreon page and check out some of the things that are listed there. And in doing so, you'll be supporting the channel. Again, consider subscribing to the channel. There is a schedule in place now, so you'll know exactly the day Shingeki goes up. And yeah, even consider turning on the notifications. It's all a bit strange for me to be saying these things because I've never been in a position, or I've never had a semblance of a schedule before, but I am in that position now, and I am able to say these things now. So consider subscribing or checking out the Patreon page. Consider checking out the pinned comment that has links to my social media, and it does have a link to the Patreon page, and it has the schedule in the description as well. And of course, the pinned comment usually has updates. If there is an update, it usually goes in the pinned comment right at the top of the comment section. Can't miss it. All right, man. So let's get right into the episode. Oh, it's that music from Ilse's Notebook. And I love that episode so much. Whoa. No, Armin, it's gotta be you, man. Come on. Damn. Oh, he's rattled, man. Perfect game. Oh my goodness. Is that so? Keicho. Red shirts. Holy shit. Oh my god. The first pitch. Oh, perfect game. That's a baseball term, isn't it? Marlo. Oh. So they have baseball over there, huh? No wonder it looked like he had form, even in the trailer, remember? Wow, they are sandwiched, man. This is bad. Wow. New scouts, oh my god. Dude, they lost? Oh, he don't care, man. It's a man on a mission. New music? Oh my. I just realized something. Oh, he's gonna launch him. Jeez.
ありゃさすがに突っ込みすぎた。あの巨体に無策で挑めばああなっちまう。何か一発逆転の策でもない限り、この奪還作戦も俺たち
That's what it has to be at this point.
人類の未来も全ておしまいだ。このままおとなしく皆殺しにされてたまるか。
John, my dude, just be careful, man. Oh, he's gonna blow the steam. Yeah, he did that before as well. He'll think of something. He'll think of something. Oh. Margot's holding strong, man.
でもまさかそうやって死んでいくことがこんなに何の意味もないことだなんて思いもしなかったんだ。なんで自分だけは違うって思っちまったんだ。
It's that amazing music again.
それを音にしてお前らを乗せたエレンが駆け抜ける。
Maybe.
お前はどうするつもりだ。
俺は獣の相手だ。奴を引きつけて。
無理だ。近づくことすらできない。
お前とエレンが生きて帰ればまだ望みはある。すでに状況はそういう段階にあると思わないか。
Damn, man, I'm getting emotional.
正直言って
Yeah, they got decimated.
俺はもう誰も生きて帰れないとすら思っている。
ああ、反撃の手立てが何もなければな。
あるのか。
ああ、この作戦がうまくいけばお前は獣を仕留めることができるかもしれない。ここにいる新兵と私の命を捧げればな。お前の言う通りだ。どのみち我々はほとんど死ぬだろう。それならば玉砕覚悟で正気にかける戦法もやむなしなのだ。そのためにはあの若者たちに死んでくれと一流の詐欺師のように体のいい方法を並べなくてはならない。そして私は真っ先に死ぬ。地下室に何があるのか知ることもなくな。
はあ、
俺はこのまま地下室に行きたい。何度も死んだ方がマシだと思った。それでも父との夢が頭にちらつくんだ。そして今手を伸ばせば届くところに答えがある。すぐそこにあるんだ。見えるか、俺たちの仲間が。仲間たちは俺らを見ている。捧げた心臓がどうなったか知りたいんだ。
お前はよく戦った。おかげで俺たちはここまでたどり着くことができた。俺は選ぶぞ。夢を諦めて死んでくれ。新兵たちを地獄に導け。獣の巨人は俺が仕留める。
I was so afraid of this. Shit, of course not, man. It is what it is, guys.
我々がおとりになる間にリヴァイ兵士長が獣の巨人を討ち取る。以上が作戦だ。
何？利用できるような木も家もね
いいや、
Titan.
ちょうどいい高さの立体物が
Titans.
並んで突っ立ってた。
Oh my fucking god.
巨人を伝って忍び寄り、獣の巨人を奇襲しよう。
Let's go, Hitcho! Holy shit, that shot.
俺たちは今から死ぬんですか？
そうだ、全くもって無意味だ。どんなに夢や希望を持っていても、幸福な人生を送ることができたとしても、岩で体を砕かれても同じだ。人はいずれ死ぬ。ならば人生には意味がないのか。死んだ仲間もそうなのか。あの兵士たちも無意味だったのか。いや違う。あの兵士たちに意味を与えるのは我々だ。あの勇敢な死者を、哀れな死者を思うことができるのは聖者である我々だ。我々はここで死に、次の聖者に意味を託す。それこそ唯一この残酷な世界に抗う術なのだ。兵士を怒れ、兵士を叫べ、兵士を戦え。
Whoa. Fuck, I'm a mess. That was fucking incredible. I mean, my heart's absolutely broken. But yeah, I'm gonna need a moment. Wow. All right, man. So yeah, let's try and unpack this incredible episode. And you know, it really was an incredible episode, one of the best of the series. That, you know, that's a given. That's a foregone conclusion. You know, I know it's a bit of a cliche to say this, but it really was a roller coaster of emotions. You know, I was an absolute mess by the end of that. And, you know, that's not easy to make people feel like that. To have that kind of, you know, to bring out that kind of reaction. You know, that takes incredible writing. That takes, you know, fantastic storytelling elements. And it takes fantastic characters and the connections with those characters to be able to get that type of emotion out of people, right? That affected me quite a bit. And I'm sure a lot of you had a similar experience around the time it aired. I'm sure, you know, many of you had the same reaction to this episode. And some of the things that played out in this episode. You know, it's rare. Again, it's really rare to make people feel like that, right? And storytelling has that. It has that potential, right? It can have that effect on people. And, you know, there's only been a handful of moments that have ever made me feel like the way this made me feel just then. You know, there is only one man that could have pulled that off, right? There's only one man in the world of this series that could have convinced these petrified, you know, new recruits, you know, to follow him into certain death. That's for sure. There's only one man that could have, you know, filled them with, you know, courage and, you know, inspired them in their final moments to give up their lives, right? And give the living a chance, right? Give up their lives so the living can have a chance. And, you know, he said it's going to take an expert level con man to pull this off. And he certainly pulled it off, right? And, you know, that battle cry, it is one of the best battle cries I've ever seen in any medium. You know, that pre-charge, you know, speech. Absolutely heart-pounding, goosebump-inducing, and devastatingly poignant in its delivery. Oh my god. And, you know, there was no more of this Shinzo Sasageo, right? Dedicate your hearts. No more of that. He tossed that out. Now it was about, rage, my soldiers, against the cruel world, right? That has oppressed you, that has marginalized you. Rage against. And alongside the recruits, the commander also had to be convinced, or he had to convince himself, that this final choice and this final charge might give some meaning to his fallen comrades, right? And the lives they gave for the cause. In episode 14, they made it quite clear that he carries a lot of guilt and burden. And, again, depicted in that haunting imagery of him standing on top of the corpses, right? He is the one who sent them into these dire situations, and a lot of them ended up dying, right? For the cause, for the pursuit of his dream. But it was under the mask of Shinzo Sasage, right? Dedicate your heart to humanity, right? So in the end, he gave it all up, right? His dream, his father's dream, and put humanity and his comrades first, and died. Decided to die, trusting that the living, his fellow scouts, the remaining scouts might find meaning in his life or in the sacrifice, right? And continue the crusade, and also perhaps learn that elusive truth, right? It's kind of like, if I can't get there myself, if I can't see it for myself, at least let me put my comrades in a position, or at least give them a fighting chance to go learn this elusive truth, right? So one final charge, with the might of all of his fallen comrades and the hearts they gave, to ensure that they didn't die for nothing. So Commander Smith is honestly such a fantastic example of a great catalyst character, right? This character arc created such a dynamic story about a flawed and fascinating character, right? Isayama did that. And I certainly believe that his devotion to his one fundamental truth allowed him the power to make changes in the world and the people around him, right? Dramatic changes, and I feel like it's going to continue on that path long after his potential death. Unforgettable character, right? But going back to a potential death, as heartbroken as I am, I feel like this is the natural conclusion to his arc. I feel like this was the perfect ending to his phenomenal, magnificent character arc. I feel like if he ends up surviving this, it's going to diminish the impact, and it's going to end up feeling a bit cheap, right? I just don't think they're going to go there. Because him giving up on his dream was such a substantial choice, right? And they made a big deal of it in this episode. I mean, you can't miss it. It's so clear that this is a life-ending, life-altering choice he made at the end there. So I know it sounds kind of crazy to say, especially because I love this character so much, but it is. I do hope this is the conclusion to his arc, because it's just the perfect conclusion. As as much as it hurts, it's a perfect conclusion. Anything else might end up feeling a bit cheap if he ends up surviving this. Now, another really interesting relationship of this show, of this anime, is that of Levi and the commander, right? Last episode they kind of focused on Reiner and Bertolt, and this episode you really get to see their relationship. It's really interesting, it's fascinating, and it's complicated, right? The commander opens up about his feelings quite a bit in this crucial moment in his life. He opens up to Levi, right? Lets it all out, lets out all that guilt and the burden he's been holding in for so long, right? And he feels that he can let it out in front of Levi, right? This is a side of the commander that not many have seen. Perhaps Levi might be the only one who has seen the commander as a person, right? An actual person instead of a facade or a role, right? This also goes back to, episode 12, the mid-season finale. In that room, he's not afraid to open up to Levi, right? He does tell him that, yeah, I prioritize the truth over humanity. And the interesting even there was that Levi, he said, I trust your judgment, right? So there's quite an interesting relationship there. And again, I did feel like it was a beautiful moment that he could open up about all of this to someone, right? It's something he's been holding in for so long, for years, right? And he didn't hold anything back, right? He straight up just, let it out that, a lot of these people died because of me. All of this happened because I had the hope that one day I could get to this point, right? And oh man, you could feel the pain and anguish. He's so close. He was so close, and that it's depicted in this scene of him raising his hand. It's right there. I can reach out and grab it. Again, I said in one of the earlier episodes, might have been, again, episode 14, he had a distinct, so close yet so far feeling, even in that episode. So, this really drives that point home. Again, like I said in that episode, it had a distinct last of its kind feeling as well. And, again, it plays out in this episode. I think Levi did something incredible for him, right? He took some of that burden from him. And he made the choice. He decided that he's going to make the choice for him. He took that burden and he told him, go and die, give up on your dream and die. I'm making the choice for you. So I think Levi did something incredible for the commander there. And, that shot of him going on one knee. Oh shit, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it again. That broke me, man. That was, oh my God, incredible. That shot, it's gonna remain in my mind forever. As long as, this, right up until the series concludes, that shot of Levi on one knee to, oh man, the respect there, the respect they show, or the respect Levi has for the commander. Yeah, it makes you emotional, man. And in that sense, it's quite an incredible thing that someone like Levi has so much respect for someone, right? Because, after Farlan and Isabel, this is probably the closest, actually not probably, this is the closest connection he was able to, make or have after losing those two loved ones, right? So in that sense, I do feel bad for Levi now, man. Now that distinct feeling of the last of his kind is kind of being transferred to Levi, right? He's just lost this companion, this person he has so much respect for, someone he can, trust, someone he understands. And now he's probably going to end up losing him, right? So yeah, I do feel bad for Levi. I feel sad for him. Again, Hanji's squad is MIA. I don't think Hanji's dead. I just don't think they're gonna kill her off screen. But it is a sad moment. A friend having to say goodbye, knowing that this man I respect so much is about to charge into his death. So yeah, I do like this relationship quite a bit, and in that sense, I do. At some point, I'm gonna go back to No Regrets. I'm sure there's a lot of really cool connections that play out, that episode and this moment right here. So I'm definitely gonna go back to that episode at some point. I do remember the commander telling Levi to not let that moment of Isabel and Farlan dying affect him, right? Or he might as well die. I think it was along those lines or something. He might as well consider himself dead or something if he lets that linger in his mind. This episode was full of incredible scenes, right? Of course, the conclusion of Commander Smith's final charge, incredible. But another incredible scene was the build up to the commander saying there is a way to counterattack, right? Again, they use that music, that incredible music that they've used in the past few episodes. It gets me every time, man. It's just incredible piece of music. But the build up to that was, oh my god. The build up, the tension, the emotions, as Levi's laying it out that this is an absolute defeat, right? They got decimated, they got bested on all fronts, and he's ready to actually die in like a final attempt to maybe give the commander and Eren some time to escape, because he made no qualms about the fact that the commander and Eren are the two most important people to their cause, right? And he was ready to die, trying to give them a chance. But the build-up, as he's explaining this and they're showing the carnage around them, it's building and it's building, and then it reaches a crescendo. Again, my musical knowledge isn't the greatest, but I think I could call it reaching a crescendo, right? And it's timed perfectly as the commander tells him, no, there's one thing we can do, right? Incredible scene, just incredible. Just the episode itself, man, I can't say it enough. It was just an incredible episode, especially the second half of that episode. Now then, speaking of Levi, and actually before I even go there, how about that one scene of the final charge and the Levi swinging from Titan to Titan, and the camera kind of pans and it shows the charge in the background and it's showing Levi. That broke my mind. As you saw in the reaction, that just broke my mind for a moment. Incredible. Again, not too many things can get me that hype or can get that kind of emotion out of me. But back to Levi, he appears to be on a path to the Beast Titan, right? The path is clear. He can use these Titans to go, one by one until he reaches the Beast Titan. Let's see how that plays out. Now, actually, before I go further, I guess now I know those hooks coming out of the green smoke, they must have been Levi's hooks, right? Now, it's all being set up for a grand battle, right? Grand face-off. One for the history books, Beast Titan and Levi. Now, the tricky thing about this potential encounter is the fact that I don't think they can kill off the Beast Titan just yet. I mean, he's just kind of starting to come into it. I know he's had a presence since season 2. Season 2, the opener, the season 2 opener, that's his first appearance, right? But that was just, again, like I mentioned, just recently they started showing him as an actual character, right? Before that, it was just little appearances here and there, right? Elusive figure. So he's just now starting to, begin his story arc. And, there's just so much I need to learn about him. And learn from him, right? I just a few episodes ago, or the last episode actually, I finally got to see him in his human form, right? And I did find him quite interesting, right? I did say that he actually has a pretty calm demeanor and he's not that menacing. But still, again, it's just early days of establishing him as a character outside of the Beast Titan. So in that sense, I don't think they can kill him off just yet. It just doesn't make sense, right? It just doesn't. But then on the flip side, I know Levi doesn't die either, because again, going back to this infamous post-credit scene from episode 12, Levi's up there on the rooftop, and again, that rooftop sequence has a distinct aftermath feel to it, right? So Levi can't die. And even if I didn't see that scene, I don't think they could have killed Levi off, especially after sending the commander into certain death. So in that sense, it'll be really interesting to see how this clash plays out, Levi and Beast Titan. He'll certainly get to him. And, that's one of the promises he made to the commander, right? He promised him, right? He promised him, I'll take out the Beast Titan. I don't think he'll be able to take him out, at least not yet, but I think he'll get to him, right? And I feel like that promise he made to him, I feel like he'll try right till his dying breath to fulfill that promise to the commander. So I think the Beast Titan or Zeke might have just attracted a a god of death. Also, there is that Scout Titan, that really strange little thing that's kind of supplying the Beast Titan at the moment. What if that thing jumps in? There's a possibility, there is a possibility that Levi could get injured badly if that thing, blindsides him. Now, staying on the Beast Titan or this Zeke, it's so clear that he has such a disregard for their lives that, to him, it's almost like just another day, right? He's just out here treating it like it's pitching practice, right? And, he's out here talking about, he's having a good time, right? He's not stressed or anything. He's having a good time just taking lives, man. And, the nonchalant nature of it all is just so chilling, right? This dude's out here trying to practice a perfect game. And though I don't really watch baseball, I've seen it, enough Sportsnet over my lifetime to know that's a baseball term. And of course, his stance and the way he pitches it or throws it, it's clear that it's a baseball thing. And again, it's just so jarring, right? His nonchalant nature, and then on the other end of it, these bodies in the hundreds are kind of like going up, and there's this mist of blood in the air. Oh, just haunting imagery, right? And it's starting to become even more clear that the world outside of the walls is just dramatically different, right? Or perhaps it's normal. It's just normal, but the people inside the walls are just so detached from that reality, right? So it's so different. Everything's gonna be so different if and at some point if they do get there, right? And they get to experience these new things, to them it might seem dramatically different, but it might not be dissimilar from our own reality, right? They have things like coffee and baseball, and those appear to be normal things in their hometown or this place they come from. And of course, the whole concept of canned herring back in season 2, episode 4. They have infrastructure, like normal infrastructure in place, right? So that's another one of the more exciting prospects of the show, of this anime, to see their hometown and what it looks like, right? Because there is a possibility that it might be just so different than the stuff inside the walls, right? But going back to the Beast Titan, if he does end up being a Jaeger, and if I am right, and he ends up being Grisha's brother, how come he's so different? What happened? What happened to him, and what happened to Grisha? What makes him so different, right? That this guy has such a hate for the people inside the walls, and is just out here taking lives like it's nothing. But then you have Grisha, who is like the opposite end of it. He found love inside the walls. He learned to love the people inside the walls. So what happened, man? That's another one of the questions. Again, that's all assuming if I'm right about them being siblings, right? Or being related. So let's see, somehow they ended up on really opposite ends of the scale. And again, staying on Zeke, the war chief, it was established that this guy is a strategist himself, an exceptional strategist himself, because the commander noted that, he kind of cornered them. He made it so all of them kind of bunched up in one area. So he knows exactly, or so he knows their location, right? And at this point he knows, and he starts pitching. And of course, since he's in this terrifying Beast Titan form, it feels like missiles taking off, like cannons, right? The debris. So devastatingly effective, right? And speaking of being bested on all fronts and it being one of the most hopeless situations I've ever seen them in, the Colossal and the Armored Titan. Man. They're, like Jean stated, they're going to need a counter move of their lifetime, right? Of their lifetimes to turn this around. And I liked a few of the callbacks, or at least one of the callbacks. As the armored titan comes out of the smoke, it was almost like a carbon copy of the season 2 finale, Scream, or not the finale. Actually, I think it was episode 11, Charge, as the smiling titan presents itself or like enters that space. Right, that was the ending to that episode, the cliffhanger ending to that episode. And it's the same music playing, and Mikasa and Eren look up and see the smiling titan approach from the smoke. Same type of thing happened here, right? Same music is playing, and the armored titan approaches from the smoke. So it looks like Reiner has recovered enough to re-enter the battle. So that's another problem they have now. And then the other callback, the music from Ilse's notebook in the opening of the episode. Again, I just love that music, and I love that episode so much. That episode, even though it's not part of the main series, it's in my top 10, easily my top 10. I constantly always think about that episode. It's always in my mind. But yeah, I love the opening, having that that music. Really set the tone and the mood for the rest of the episode. And then speaking of the Colossal Titan, they really brought up that steam aspect again, right? And how devastating it can be. And going back to my episode 12 discussion and post by post, frame by frame, sorry. I did bring up the possibility of his steam potentially doing that to the person that's charred on the roof. It's starting to kind of feel like that. They really set that up again in this episode. How devastating his steam can be. Though there is a bit of a downside, or there is a catch. It uses muscle tissue, right? So it is a limited skill or ability that he can make use of. But yeah, the possibility of his steam charring that person on the rooftop, it's still out there, man. It's still out there. Now, the absence of Hanji, or taking her out of the picture for a bit, hopefully. Again, I don't think she died, but taking her out of the picture really spices things up a bit, right? Because it puts these scouts, right, the 104th, in a position that is just, they've never experienced anything like this, right? They are in a high risk and dangerous situation for the first time, and they have to deal with it. There's no superior, there's no experienced scouts around. They have to deal with it. And I, it's fair that Armin kind of struggles, right? Because he kind of did he did kind of fail in his attempt to stop Bertolt, right? In the final episode. Like I said, Bertolt got him. He got one over him. He didn't let Armin take control of the situation. So in that sense, it's completely understandable that Armin's feeling a bit useless at this point, or not feeling the most, or doesn't have the most confidence at the moment. And he told Jean to take over. He requested that Jean take over a bit. And speaking of Jean, in the last episode, it was clear that he is so suited for a position of command, or could be suited for a position of command, and he does. For the situation they're in, I think he did an exceptional job for the time being. Because he did tell Armin that, listen, man, sooner or later you're gonna have to think of something, because that's not my thing, right? That's all you, Armin. And I do think Armin is gonna come up with some kind of amazing plan at some point. Hey man, how about Commander Jean at some point? Hey man, he could totally do it. I think he could do it. He's got all the skills. He's got the capabilities and abilities. So I don't know, man. Let me just put that out there. Maybe Commander Jean at some point. Maybe by the conclusion of the story, it could happen. I could see it happening. Again, that takes me back to season 1. Around this time, Jean was established as one of my favorites, and one of the main reasons was because he is so relatable to us, right? He's the most human of them all, right? He's not gifted. He's not, special in any sense. It's just tenacity, right? He is, again, there's people like Sasha and Connie as well, of course. But Jean, really excelled. You can see again in this episode that he learned so much. And, that's one of the reasons he's been one of my favorites. Even if the focus kind of drops off from him. So yeah, I think that's about it for this incredible episode. Incredible. Just, easily the best so far. I'm 4 episodes in, and that absolutely just, it's right at the top. No competition. The last episode is quite good as well, but this is like a different level. This is like an all-timer, right? So if you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like. Consider leaving comments. Give me your thoughts. Consider subscribing to the channel. In doing so, you'll be supporting the channel. And of course, I say this because there is a schedule in place now, so you'll know exactly the day Shingeki goes up. So, perhaps get the notifications on even. I'm not used to saying those things because in the past I didn't really have any semblance of a schedule, right? It was also random. But now there is a schedule, there is a structure in place. So yeah, consider, subscribing. And if you're interested in full length or early access to the next episode right now, consider checking out the Patreon page. And also in doing so, you'll be supporting the channel and my content. So I think that's about it. I really did enjoy that quite a bit. One of the best episodes of the series. Just left me absolutely just a mess by the end of it. It was one of the best. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to see you soon. Take it easy.